Here's how to waste about $10 and add audio, speech output or music output to your Klipper 3D printer. Here's some examples of it being used. I've added a macro called say, and you can pass strings to say, and Klipper will say them. There is a service running on Raspberry Pi which will convert the text into speech and then say the speech.
Insert more filament pause.
So this example could be used when your filament runs out and the printer pauses, just to give you a heads up that the filament needs changing. Using a greater than symbol before a file name allows you to actually play an audio file from within Klipper. If you start the string with a colon, then it will repeatedly say the string with a 2-second separation
Paused, please
until
fix problem
it's
and
directed
resume.
to stop.
Paused, please fix problem and resume.
Typically this would be on something
Paused,
like
please
a pause,
fix problem and resume.
and the resume command would be used
Paused, please
to
fix
stop
problem
it
and resume.
repeatedly saying the same
Paused, please
thing
fix
over
problem
and
and
over.
resume. Paused, please fix problem and
Here
resume.
I simply say nothing to stop the repeated text. Full instructions on the installation and setup and use of this can be found on my GitHub page linked in the description. This is done asynchronously so as to not affect the flow of the Klipper macro. Typically the speech, I would imagine, is done either during a pause or at the end of a print or when filament needs changing, so would have little effect on Klipper itself if it's running on the same Pi as Klipper. However, it doesn't have to run on the same Pi as Klipper. It could run on a secondary Pi, maybe a Pi 0, running in parallel and just running this as a service. I've implemented this on my test SVO8, which has a second Raspberry Pi. I added this second Pi to cope with the additional load from cameras on each of the heads, along with a gantry and an overall camera. The speech creation should work fine on a Raspberry Pi 0 if needed. If your Pi has an audio jack out, then you could just simply plug in a cheap soundbar. A Pi with no audio output jack would require something like this audio header. This particular one seems to fit most Pis. This is the route I took, plugging in the header to my secondary Pi, since I already had the header spare. I then just hot glued the tinny speakers under the SVO8 frame. The installation steps are clearly laid out in my GitHub repository. If you've done any Klipper configuration requiring you to SSH into your Klipper server, then you should find the installation reasonably simple. There's a command line to install the text-to-speech interpreter, and then there's a simple script which you can set up to run on your Pi to service the requests. The documentation also includes details on how to set up a Raspberry Pi hat, or at least the hat that I used. If anybody has problems installing, then please feel free to add comments and I'll answer as quickly as I can.